So thank you for joining in this evening. And this evening, I'm going to be doing a very, very important training. It's a crafting your story. And let me just kind of organize a few little things here. I'm just going to make sure that everything is good. Okay, perfect. And crafting your story is one of the basic principles, the basic elements of the success cycle. We used to call it your why. Used to be a training called your why, but we determined that your story is part of your why, and your why is part of your story, which is a very important part of the process. And when you start building your business, one of the very first thing that we have been taught, that we've been teaching people, is to craft your story. So Tammy and I want to spend a good 30 minutes here this evening. It's not going to be long. It's a 30-minute training to walk you through on the principles of crafting your story. So Tammy, I'm going to let you lead on this. One moment here. Here we are. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and there's a saying that everybody's heard is facts tell and stories sell. And it's absolutely true. People are always intrigued on what's going on in other people's lives, especially when something impactful is happening in their lives. And so when you are connecting with people, one of the most important things that you need to know is they want to know you. They want to know what you're up to, especially when we're dealing with the social media platform, which we are talking a lot about. Somebody said Tammy's very quiet.
Yeah, your voice is very soft, Tammy. It's very low.
Really?
Just turn that volume all the way up to the maximum and we'll figure it out.
I'm just not sure which one it is.
Just pick any one. Turn them all.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Okay, I'm just going to crank it. Is that better?
Yeah, just keep your mouth close to the microphone. Will be good.
All right. All right. Yeah. So it's about connection. And that's the one thing that we all want to master, is that connection, especially when you're not belly to belly with people on social media. People want to know. That's why you've got the stories that are going on, where people are posting the things that they're up to on a daily basis. So people get to know you, they get to know what you like, they get to know what you're passionate about. And that's why this storytelling, creating, crafting, designing your own story is really, really important, especially when you're new. Because when you've been doing this for a while, it's a natural thing to be passionately sharing our stories. Every single one of us that are on this platform that I can see right now on the Zoom session, we're all naturally connecting with people, but brand new people, they don't have that natural connection. And that is why it's really critical to help your new people get started right, and to work on their stories and help them evolve with their stories. And the more stories that you have being shared within your organization, the more successful everybody's going to become, whether it's they're meeting people in person or they're on social media. I mean, this is the foundation. It's the fundamental, is the storytelling. People come into this business because of this.
And one of the things that's important on that aspect is how to tell your story. Time, I'm not sure if you covered that, but there's really 4 components. One is your background, where you come from, the pain. Number 2 is in other words, what you did not like about the background, what's going on. Number 3 is to find your solution. What is it that you have found that has caused your situation to improve? And now, how do you feel about the future? How does the future look from that point on?
Yeah, we'll be sharing that in the slides moving
Correct.
forward.
But I just wanted to set the basic foundation of drafting your story. So go ahead.
Yeah. And as leaders, we're constantly out there sharing stories. That's pretty well how we build this business, honestly. Everywhere I go, in conversations, we're always telling stories about somebody's situation. Things have happened to them. And since they've been on this stuff, here's what's happening to them now, based on conversations where somebody might be at in their lives. And so there's always opportunity to tell stories. And that's why we want to really help people master this process. And part of the Success Cycle series is to get your brand new people ignited throughout the whole series. And this is part of the beginning process, is to craft the story. Why are you in Max? Obviously, this is a purpose-driven company. Share that with people. People need to know that. We all know the slide about the mission, right? Is to help people live a life of significant change, not only in their lives, but in the lives of other people. And people like that. People like to be part of communities that make a difference. And that's what we do. And that's why we're so passionate about this. And of course, our products it's just so easy to talk about the products. That's got to be the easiest one. But when people are new, it's not easy, right? They have to learn a little bit of the language about what these products are doing. And benefits, always benefits. The moment you start going into the science, you'll notice, and here's what's important, whether you're on a Zoom session or you're belly to belly with somebody when you're telling a story, watch their body language. Because if their eyes are glazing over, you got to change the way you're telling your story to that particular person, because it might be over their head. It might be too much information for them. And then there's other people that will just eat it all up because that's what they like. So when you're new and telling your story, you got to kind of get a feel for what people want to receive. And that's why benefits are always the biggest catcher.
And Demi, before we shift into the components that we addressed a moment ago, what's really important, folks, and this is something I've observed over the years, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on that, is you got to have a balance between your product story and your business story. And what's happening here is too much is still driven and focused towards a product story. Folks, listen, there's no money. There is no money on product story only. It's a good start, but the people who are making money are the people that are passionate, that are driven, that are attracting other people because of the financial opportunity. So if you're shy around that, it's really important that you feel the fear, but do it anyway, as Tammy would say. It's absolutely critical that you develop the aptitude and the get over the fear of talking about money, because your association about money, and we're not saying that you need to talk about money, is the association with money often people are very uncomfortable about. So as you are practicing, and we'll cover some tasks for you to do at the end of this session in preparing your story and balancing this with a business story. It's absolutely critical. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, actually, before we get into this, one of the things that I do, I just go out and I just ask, if they're open to learning more about the product, or do they have an interest in both? And I let people tell me what they're looking for. And then from there, that's when I move. And that's where I know where to go in any situation, is to be direct and just upfront. Do you want to know just about this, or you're interested in both? You'd be surprised. A lot of people say both. And a lot of people actually, Chris, they do three-way calls with me with the intention of me talking to their prospects, guiding their prospects to become a customer, and I'll bring them right into the business. And after the phone call, they'll turn around and say, wow, I didn't expect them to go that way, because they were friends or something, right? And I said, but if you don't ask, you don't know what they're looking for. So
and this is my point, is to create the balance.
Yeah.
And if you're always lump-sided on products, it's going to be hard for you to have a following that's going to want to follow you to make money. So let's get into the nuts and bolts when it comes to the timing and everything else, when it comes to the timing for your story.
Yeah. So I see a lot of you are taking notes, which is really good, because I want you to take notes and create some bullet points. So it's going to help you create your story. And if you've already got your story nailed down, you can always go back and see if you wanted to add something, because sometimes you write something. Honestly, my story, when I tell my story, it's never exactly the same all the time. So I want to make sure that, they know about my before. I want to make sure that they know that here's what happened since I've been part of Max, since I've been on the products, and here's what life is looking like today. So you want to have, you can see the layout of the formula is before you do 60 seconds. And you're going to practice doing that for sure. And then that pivot, what happened for you to make a decision to join Max as a business? What happened for you that made you decide to start these products, and what happened in the process for you? And then, of course, now that you've been on these products, here's what's happening in your life. And that's what people want to hear. That's what's going to sell people on buying the product. That's what's going to sell people on buying into the opportunity, is this portion. So this one, you're going to do two stories. You're going to do a health story and you're going to do a business story. All right. So it's going to have the same guidelines. So one is your pain. What was your pain? And use word pictures when you talk to people. When you use descriptive words where people can relate, you've got their attention. And that's the whole purpose, is to capture people's attention. Okay. And the key is not to mention any disease, especially on social media. You have to be very, very, very careful with this. If you're one-on-one and you're chatting with somebody, it's your personal story. You can have a conversation with them, but when you're out in public, be very, very careful. That's why we have this mentioned in the formula on how to get this started. And then, of course, number two, what did it cost you? What was that relational cost of that situation that happened for you that really brought you down? What happened for you in that time? And then what you took, and you want to use specific Max product names, what you took, no generic GSH language. I know that a lot of Max people don't use that. You don't say, oh, I took glutathione. You would use a specific, what are the specific products that you use? Because they'll want to know about the product that you're talking about. And then number four is, what did you get back? What happened? What was the restoration and your new reality on the contrast of the items 1 and 2? And that's the formula. And it's going to help you guide you to create that story, and make sure you have your bullet points on what the products have done for you. And one of the things that I personally found is that if I create it pretty generic, which I never really had disease coming into Max anyways, but if I keep it generic, I attract more people. And I'm always telling the story of what's going to attract most people. Well, people want more energy. So we just kind of put this little formula together. So there you go, the formula 1, 2, 3, 4. So just put some examples, some word pictures of that. Lack of energy, people can relate to that. Lack of performance, people can relate to that. Not exercising because you just don't feel like getting out of bed. Whatever it is for you, you would create that. I know that was often my situation before I started Max Products. And I just had no energy. I didn't feel like doing anything at all. And I'm a person that goes to the gym all the time, but I just didn't feel like it. And, those of you who know our story about, being broke and struggling, and that's where we were in our life when Max came into our life. So the opportunity was such a big conversation that we had with most people. So the word pictures on that, what did it cost? Well, not being sociable, didn't want to get out of bed, didn't want to go work out, just not feeling me. And you know how many people actually relate to that? You'd be surprised how many people staying up at night worrying, and then you wake up the next day and you're just walking around in brain fog because you're not getting the proper rest. You just don't feel like going out. You know, I just threw a couple extra things, you know, challenges in relationships could be an issue because of not having that mental clarity, that focus, that just don't feel like it. And my children's disappointment. Imagine if somebody was depressed. I guess you could call that depression, right? Imagine if somebody's depressed and their kids are trying to get their attention. That's enough to make you put tears in your eyes. You know, you want to have a quality of life so you can enjoy your family. So these are all the things that you want to think about. How can you connect with people that you can actually really relate to a lot of people, especially when you're social media, because you want to throw a good net out there. And one of those nets right now is depression.
One thing that is important, sorry, Tammy, I thought I could step in at this point here. I think what's very important when you're sharing your story, again, just remember the protocol where how it was, the pain that you were dealing with on how it was, what you found, and how does the future look like. And one thing that's very important that Max has, that our government approval is in agreement with, is as you take our supplements, the precursors that are provided elevates glutathione production. And when that happens, it reduces inflammation. I mean, you can really get into details there. And it doesn't matter what you're dealing with. You don't have to deal with the political names of diseases because it's all associated with inflammation of the cells. It's all associated with it. And it may require a little bit of education if they have no idea what inflammation is, but most people do. And that's it. That's it. How it was and what changed and what did you consume in the process. Now, before we get to the next slide, Tammy, do you want to add anything else to this?
Yeah, so that you could take a screenshot of that. That'll give you an idea of what you can do, and make sure that it's descriptive in regards to the products you took. Because if you're taking Celgevity and ATP and Enfuse, you know, just explain some of the stuff you're taking, and of course, what did you get back? Well, incredibly focused energy, all the stuff that you got back because of consuming the product. So here's
are some examples where you recognize these beautiful people, and what happens is they created they drafted their story, and I'll show you where you can actually mimic that. Anybody here listening, Tammy and I, whenever we do, everything is free, everything's open, everything is giving to the world to take advantage of, and we'll tell you where you can access that information on how you can create and duplicate. And it's nice because then we see your posts and we recognize where it's coming from. But the point here is these are wonderful posts. Now, obviously, you don't see the full because I try to cram it to make it fit into this slide here. But the fact is, once you draft your story and you're ready to share it to the world, a good way to start is share it within your social media environment, your social media network, through your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your TikTok, whatever it is that you use, Pinterest, and start sharing. And if you followed some of the guidelines that we shared on the 90-day run on the Crown Diamond Global Impact group that we've been spending an enormous amount of time and energy putting together, there is so many tools that you can get from there on how to interact with your social network tools and how to connect to people that we talked about in our previous trainings on prospecting. Next week, we're going to be doing inviting. So all of these things, once you start getting attention and people start noticing you, when you post something on your personal profile, it's really interesting where people will start commenting back and they'll start checking you out. Or let's say that you are commenting on their pages and then you come back to your profile to check you out. They will see that post. That's why your story is absolutely critical, right? These are some of the videos that were made and that are available. You know, some of you are promoting also through YouTube, and you're creating a YouTube channel, or you're sharing. I mean, at the end of the day, folks, it's really, really important is that your story has to come out. You can't be a secret agent. It has to come out. And the recipe we just shared with you, the next step we'll get into the business aspect, right? And this is, Tammy wanted to make sure that we share this, right? We have a board that you can access that information. And from the board, you can access, if you go to activeteamgroup.com, you know the drill, right? You can actually access the board from there. And once you have it, you select, for example, Canada, USA in this particular case, and then you would select testimonials. And then once you select testimonials, then they're here. That is the link that you want to use. If you click on this link, it will take you to the template that we've created, that Marcel actually created. And all you need to do is change your picture and update the writing, or put your writing there that you've designed, and you're ready. And then you just print it at the format that fits the format you want to promote to your social media. That's it. That's all. You do not have to wait on the company to do things. What you need to do is connect with folks and have your story out there so people can see you. So go ahead, Tammy.
Yeah. So the next slide is the business. So it's the same formula. You've got your before, you've got your pivot, and then you've got now that, the financial part is there. Here's what's happening in my life today. So if you go right into the formula, so you've got your financial pain. And again, use as descriptive word pictures, no mention of the amount of income.
Yeah.
That's very, very important. Again, when you're on social media, you have to be careful what you put out there. So if you're belly to belly with somebody and you want to tell them, it's fine, because it's your story, and you just make sure that you have some type of an income disclaimer that not everybody will make the same income. Not everybody's going to build this business and treat it like a business. So what did it cost you, for the debt you were in, the financial pain that you were in? And what did you invest? Number 3, in the specific max business pack. Share the package that you invest in so you could start building your business. We always share the package we got started with to let people know how serious we were in building our business. And we let them know our story. When our package arrived, we just made sure we got our products were out within probably a week, I think, Chris, and everybody who consumed the product wanted to be an associate or a customer. We had a really high ratio. Why? Because the products are real, and they saw our passion and our excitement around the opportunity. So, and people knew us. They knew us well. So
I totally
they knew
agree.
that we had a drive to succeed in business too. So, and then of course, what did you get back? The relational restoration and the new reality of, in contrast of the two, 1 and 2. So those are the formulas on both the financial and the product.
And Tammy, let me talk on this a little bit, because this is something that I remember losing sleep over situations that, I've made some financial commitment to help an associate from a previous company, and some really bad situation has happened to his financial situation, and I committed to what I was already committed to do for the work that was delivered. And unfortunately, I did not consider that my leg could shift, and my strong leg became my weak leg. And that's the side that so in other words, I ended up being in debt up to my eyeballs because I made a commitment to a person. When I make a commitment to someone, I will die trying to stay to my commitment. That's who I am. Long story short, I was such in debt. It was not pretty. And every night I was going to sleep with a headache, waking up in the morning with a bad stomach feeling. And it went on like that for a long time, long time. And that's how it used to be. But then what happens is I started applying the work in this model, this business model, by sharing this with people. And I started getting some really amazing results, which I was able to start to pay off my debt to a point where actually my debt was paid for because of this company. And then eventually what happened is the money started coming in, and now I started investing. And we started investing in a property in Florida. Hold and behold, here we are in the present, right? Well, that was the future in the past. And then we invested properties in Costa Rica, and we invested in stocks and all of these things, nickel and dimes. And today has matured and matured and matured and matured and matured. So what's happening is the future is so bright because of the decision that we made. But it was not comfortable at the beginning. And that I remember sharing this often at the beginning. So you can see here that you have the debt, not sleeping, angry, stress. I mean, all of them. That's it, right? And then from there, that was the cost, right? And it was conflict. It was uncomfortable. It was stressful. The relationship. I mean, it was challenging. Things were difficult. And then from there, what happened is I got involved with the company. I made a decision to be part. So I made the purchase. I decided to buy the big package because I knew of the possibilities. I believed in myself and I believe in the possibility. So I picked this package and I started impacting people's health. And then as we keep moving forward, as I was sharing my stories, this is it here, right? Today we have residual income. We went through the tsunami of the pandemic situation, which is pure hell for many people. And it's not, sunshine and rainbows for us either, but we're able to go right through it with the residual because of the decisions that we've made 15, 16 years ago now. So a relationship is stronger. Paying the bills, it's not even an issue anymore. It's more like making sure that we keep maintaining our investments for our retirement, so we don't have to keep working forever. So I don't know, Tammy, if you want to add anything else to this. And the fact is, these are some stories. And folks, there's so many others I can have picked, but I didn't have a lot of time at the end, and I picked some pictures that I saw. And these are our business stories that we're sharing to the world. And this is very important that you take the time to draft your story. Once your story is drafted, then again, just like we talk about the product, you have to put it out there. You got to let people know. Your voice can not only impact, but inspire others that might be in a similar or worse situation that you are in. So back to you, Tammy.
I'm just looking at Lucy's face, and you just look at her eyes and her smile.
Passion.
Her passion for impacting people's lives. It's all over her face. It's beautiful. I love it. And that's what we need to do when we're out there connecting with people is people are reading your body language and your excitement and your passion. And if you're new, don't worry if you don't have your financial story, or if you've been in for a while and you haven't really taken off with the business. Don't worry about it. The one thing that I personally did when I didn't have a business story, when I was new in the industry, I told my leader's story. I always told their story because I knew I didn't have my own. And you know what? It worked. It worked because I said I wanted to introduce them to my leader. And they're helping me get where I need to go. And I just bringing people to introduce them to the opportunity, and people are joining the business and things are starting to move, and it creates that interest. And then the leader would talk to them, and they came out to a presentation. They were in the business, and we had all these new business partners. So don't worry about you not having your own business story. Leverage other people's stories until you have your own. You going to do the elevator, or you want me?
Oh, I thought you were getting into it. No, that's fine. Yes, absolutely. See, what's really important here, folks, is often you're going to meet someone and you have like 15 seconds, 10 seconds, not even that sometimes to make an impression. And in some cases, some of the things that are here may apply or may not apply, right? And also, you could use that and again, what's there is not what you need to use. It's just some quick examples. Some of you are very creative. You can find your own wording. But again, very important is the compliment. And again, it's important when you give someone a compliment that it's not phony because you have a goal in hand, right? You got an agenda. They'll smell you a mile away. So you have to be genuine on something that you generally see by giving the compliment. So you smile and you give the compliment, right? Shoes, suits, hairstyle, whatever. I'm telling you, smiling is, I would say, 70% of the job, of the work. It's amazing. It's amazing. Try it. If you don't smile often to strangers, just look at someone and smile. Generally smile. It's amazing how contagious a smile is. It's unbelievable. And then from there, the compliment could be, again, sometime it may not be the right time or the right space. In some cases, it might be. And you may be in a position to ask some direct or indirect questions. So in the conversation, I love Uber drivers because they're in business, they're entrepreneurs. And often Uber drivers are open. They may not do it, but they just may be curious. If you do it often enough, you may come across, are you open to a different stream of incomes or to a new stream of incomes? Our companies are always looking for sharp people who are looking for new business challenges. I mean, again, this may apply to someone or may not. Use your judgment on this. Another one is Tammy and I on every Wednesday morning, we're starting this. We're going to a meeting, a meetup where people are meeting right here in Daytona Beach. And they're talking about business and ideas and everything else. So we're preparing that 5-second response. You know, we're an entrepreneur or international business developer that brings a health technology product globally. Oh, really? To the right person, that could be very attractive. So we're not saying that you need to use what we're sharing here. There are just triggers that are ideas, quick ideas that we're sharing with you. And number 4 is, this is where the app, the board is so useful because all the information is at your fingertips. Choose what you feel is appropriate and don't always think that you need to lead with a product. I'm telling you, sometimes take a leap of faith and take a chance and pick something that you feel might be appropriate for them to look at. If it's a product, then it is, right? If I send that to you, would you look at it? Would you have time to look at it? And smile as you're doing that, right? If I send you a video, would you be open to check it out? If I send you a Zoom link to connect, would you be able to join us? We have presentation on every week on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Which one's more convenient for you? And if you're sending someone to that presentation, make sure you have the decency to show up. This is really, really important. And you may want to even tell the presenter, whoever are presenting, every week, every Monday morning, there's one that went out this morning, which are lining up all the meetings on the Active Team emails. If you don't know this, if you go to activeteamgroup.com, register your email, and you'll receive everything we send. We send email on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 10 a.m., 3 emails that goes out to prepare for the week, right? So in this case, you can take that email and send it over to them. And you can see everything that's available. We also have a global presentation on Thursday in the afternoon. So again, it's just for you to be prepared to channel people in the right direction and point them in the right direction as to what to look. And if you do this often enough, sooner or later, you will come across people that will be interested. So as we move on to the assignment, Tammy, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's good. Elevator speech, obviously it's in anywhere you go. It's to get comfortable just connecting with people. Again, if you're new at doing all of this, just get comfortable smiling at people, making that small conversation and see where it goes, because you just never know where conversations go. You just don't. I have conversations all the time with people, and people just open up. People are generally quite friendly when they feel like that you're very approachable. So that's the key is to go out there and build new friendships and you just never know where it's going to lead you. And so the assignments on this session is to work on your stories, your health story, your business story. Even if you don't have a business story right now, you can start with the before, because there's a reason that you came into the business aspect of it. So where were you, and why did you decide to come in? And now that that I'm involved in the business, I'm really excited about my future. And tell them your goal. Okay, that is always good to work on, is tell them your goal. And then once it's written, and I know this is a big one, but it's going to help you get out of your comfort zone, and you can just hold your phone up and in an area where you're going to have some good light on your face and not a bunch of shadow, and just read your story and just practice videotaping yourself, and then watch it and practice again. I'm telling you, if you practice 10 times and you go and look at your first one from your 10th, it'll be totally different. And that's how you start, developing the posture to be able to, easily share this through a story, through a reel. You can even do a live, and you can even also do segments of your story. You can start with your before and just say, hey, tomorrow I'm going to share what happened for me to make the changes that I'm living today. And you can even share it again in another one. So you can move your story in a sequence. That's the word that I was trying to find. And then practice on Zooms. Connect with people. If you have a Zoom account, does everybody have their own Zoom account here? If you have your Zoom account, just let us know. Put your hand up. Let me know if you have a Zoom account in the reaction. Yeah. Okay. And try and do a connection as much as you can every day. Because you know what happens is it becomes a habit when you start connecting with people, even just to get to know them for coffee chats, and you just never know where it goes. And through that process, guess what? You're each telling your story. So this is a good opportunity for you to practice your stories. Yeah, I know I do coffee chats regularly just to get to know people through business networks, through different groups.
Here's one of the reasons that I really encourage people to do live presentation. It's the assignment number 4. Many of you have done that already. You've already done your assignment. You are doing them. And that's why I'm encouraging you to do them every single week, because it gets you into that hibernation mode of doing nothing and actually present. And even if there's nobody in the webinar, it doesn't matter. You matter. You're there. And then every time you present, you're adding another notch of credibility in that human credibility bank as how many presentations you've done. And then your personality will show. And I can see, and so many of you, the growth that occurs when you present now. It's because of those presentations. And eventually what's going to happen, if you start doing what we suggest for you to do based on the past assignments and the past trainings that we've done since the beginning of the year, you're going to start having people coming into your presentation. And this is very important, is focus on enrolling and signing new people up. And that's only going to happen by doing the activities that we shared. But if you don't have your story laid out, then you don't have anything to show. You don't have anything to share. And don't think that your story doesn't matter. You have no idea how it may matter to someone else. And that's the point that we want to share with you here today. So the fact here is get off that comfort zone box or situation and draft your story. And I know many of you have done it. Maybe you haven't virtualized your story yet. It's on paper, but it hasn't been virtualized. We shared with you the link for you to create your flyer. And I suggest as a homework is draft your story, put it into the flyer, save it into your computer, put it wherever you need to put it, either on your phone or your computer, and then from there, upload it to whatever social media environment that you use to, to share. That's a more convenient for you. And then that's the homework. And you may actually end up having some business because of that. So the fact here, folks, is your story is very important, and everything that your story doesn't matter, or it's not important, or you're not impactful enough. Don't think that way. The fact here is your story matters, and the more you tell it, the better you become in telling it, and the more effective you become in telling it. So, Tammy, you have any other comments you want to add to this?
Just practice. You'll get really great at it. Just go out and just be yourself and get to know people, just to get out there and start. And you'll see it'll go miles.
Okay, folks. So that's it for tonight. Thank you for attending, and enjoy the rest of your day. And we look forward to our next week. And it's going to be on inviting.